Welcome, everyone, to Todd's World. Welcome, Carrie. It's the
Thank you.
Wildly Opinionated News Hour. Carrie's coming in hot, wildly opinionated.
I am always coming in hot, wildly opinionated. I'm so glad to be. I feel like I've never left.
You had a big weekend, right? You
It's
were out
just,
partying like a rock star.
oh my gosh, I really was. It was
Look
so
at you
fun.
go, trying to keep up with your 20 something year old daughter or whatever,
24-year-olds. Yeah, I was out with 24-year-olds, my sweet daughter. I love it when they let me third wheel it with them.
right?
They're very fun.
And you kept
Oh,
up.
it's great. We
She
went and
just
did
kept going.
we did some silent disco on the pier, and then we went played some pool. We did some shots.
Look at you go doing shots. Wow.
I have a new mantra about shots.
Shots with Jesus.
Yeah, right. No, definitely not. New mantra is it's a better idea to do shots earlier than later.
Early, yeah, probably makes sense.
Earlier than later. As long as it doesn't impair your judgment about doing more shots later. Like
Well,
that's
that's,
really
that's
the
the other side of that one.
like I did great. I did great.
Well, yeah, because the problem is you're mixing it up with a bunch of stuff if you do it later. And that's where
Exactly.
things get
I was a
hairy.
little nervous about the mixing.
What kind of shots were you doing?
So I did a Vegas bomb, which is very fun.
Okay.
And Crown is the main ingredient in that, the main
Is it?
alcohol. Yeah, and I did a lemon drop,
Lemon drop's not bad.
and then I
I
drank
can't
gin.
do I can't do Jaeger. I do not like Jaeger.
You don't?
Oh,
I mean,
last
it's
time I
not
got
like it's, I
sick
don't
like
know.
20 years ago
Oh shoot,
drinking
you
one.
aren't over it yet?
No,
There's
I
something
just
kind of good about Jaeger. Something a little good about it. I don't know.
oh, I don't
I
like
like,
it at all, but I know people do. A lot of people do.
I would think you was
A
like
lot
a
of people
seven and
really
seven
like it.
drinker, just like the dark and the sweet. You might like it, maybe.
There's something about that licorice in there that
It mixes well, interestingly, I should say, with root beer.
really,
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that.
You know what? I'll come up with a great Jaeger concoction that you will like.
Oh,
You're like, no, thank you.
I'll get sick for this the first time after like 2 decades. It probably has
Yeah.
been that long since I actually got like sick from drinking.
Ooh.
And that was at a
It's been how
bachelor
long?
party. Probably 20 years at least, I
Oh, good
think.
for you.
Well, I mean, it's not normal, right? To get
No,
like,
it's not, but it happened to me like at that Detroit wedding. So, yeah.
yeah. Well, to be fair, I'm a big guy, so I mean,
Yeah,
it it
I
it
know.
should take a little more. Like I should have to work at it
True.
harder,
Okay, true. Yes.
right?
Okay. So that's it. We're just gonna say it's because I'm small.
Right. I mean, you're
Smaller.
half the size of
I'm
me,
not
and
I'm not petite, but I'm not a
plus
large person.
girls, it hits girls harder too. Anyway, a little bit
I
anyway.
guess.
So
I
I
think it
don't know
does.
if that does across board just because they're on average smaller.
Sure.
But
But Jaeger was it 20 years ago, maybe?
well, we were in a
Oh,
party bus and they were passing all kinds of things around,
oh
like
goodness.
just fifths
Mixing
of
everything.
everybody had to
Oh,
drink as it went around, because
just
it's a
as you
bachelor party, you're on a party bus.
gosh.
Yeah,
Terrible,
it was
terrible
so bad.
recipe.
It was
It
horrible.
does not sound good.
Why do people do things like that? I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't do things like that now. But I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
saying it's
crazy.
been that long since I've been hungover. I've been hungover since then.
Right, but getting sick.
But I mean just like that bad,
Gotcha. Yeah.
like getting sick that night. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like that. I'm not a big
No,
fan.
absolutely not.
I take it easy with my beers with Jesus. Jesus and I
Cheers.
take it easy.
Yeah, I
Speaking of
decided.
beers,
Yes,
tomorrow, guys, tune in
tomorrow
for
it
Beers
is.
with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of go through Bible stories together. We explore them. We went through the book of Mark and did the whole
Hmm.
gospel. And then now we're going through the book of Acts, which is kind
Yep.
of like the continuation of the gospel. And we just
Right.
read the stories and talk about them. So
It's cool. Check it out.
we assume they're true and we proceed as if that's the case.
We assume
So
we
we
believe they
believe it.
are, but we're not preachy about it. It's just we're really just sharing it. It's
Right.
interesting. We talk about stuff.
We just want to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
What's the church hiding from us?
I'm
All
learning.
kinds of shit.
I'm
That's the
learning a
answer.
ton. I learn a ton on Beers with Jesus with you every week.
I like it. It's fun.
Yep, it's cool.
So, but you haven't paid much. You've been so busy. You haven't been paying
Dude,
much attention to the news. You said.
I haven't.
I always keep you
I
up to
work
date.
hard and played hard. I know. I'm here for my weekly dose.
Did you hear about the Supreme Court?
I have not.
You hadn't heard about the Supreme Court.
I've heard less less this week than usual than usual.
7-2.
Okay.
The Supreme Court ruled for the illegal invaders.
What?
They-
I'm
it,
confused.
it,
Start over.
so I'm looking for I don't even know if I might not have even put any clips of this in here, but they because the Supreme Court, there's a few clips, but it's not like the Supreme Court's exciting to listen to. But they ruled that the question was on, I think, due process for
Yes.
the Trade de Arguala, I don't even know how to say it, the Venezuelan gangs.
Really?
Yes. And so they have decided that even though
Hmm.
there was no process whatsoever for these gang member slash criminal slash terrorists to come into our country,
Okay.
that we should take years and years to have to deport one of them. So,
What about those? Just curious if you know the answer to this. What about those who are already like in the court system experiencing their precious
due process.
due process because of crimes they've committed here while they're here illegally? Does that count?
Um, I
You
don't
don't
know.
know. Okay.
Well, see, here's the answer. The question is, the question now
Yeah, what was
becomes,
the
what does
ruling?
Trump do? We've been heading
Okay.
to this. We've
Yes.
been
Oh, shoot.
coming to this point anyway.
If you're just joining us, Todd has a solution.
It has been, uh, and that's what I was looking to find that I couldn't find was I had a stat on how long it took the Supreme Court to finally get to any of the J6 cases, any
Okay.
single one of them. And
Hmm.
I want to say it was like 3 years it took them.
Okay.
And it took them about 3 days to pick up the case for the illegal aliens. So I think it's clear where the Supreme Court's loyalties lie, and they are not with your average ordinary Americans.
Okay. So this is the layperson's interpretation of this. I want to know what are they actually ruling on?
What they're actually ruling on is whether or not it had to do with the appellate case, and basically it has to go through this. That they said that Trump declaring the aliens in that act that he declared, that, oh God,
Oh,
I somehow I lost it. What
is
the
it
name of the
the Lake and Riley?
no,
No, it's
the act,
something
the
different.
old act, the illegal, the
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alien and
That's right.
Seditions Act, is that what it is? From like
It's
1796
I
or
was going to say
something.
something close to 1800.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they ruled that he could not, that does not apply. That's not constitutional for him to
The
use them.
Alien and Sedition Acts.
Yes.
Yeah.
That it does not
Collection of.
apply to Venezuelan criminal gang member slash
Oh,
terrorists.
okay.
That's not an invasion. And the nine
Right.
people, none of whom, not one single one of whom has ever been elected, decided that they're God and that they
Right.
can make the
Right.
decision. Now, Trump has all the power he needs to do whatever he wants to do
Mm-hmm.
under the Constitution, Article 2.
Okay.
The Supreme Court's Article 3 and has nothing to do with Article 2 powers.
Okay.
And so Trump should ignore the courts
Mm-hmm.
and save the union. Um,
Right.
we'll see what he does.
Okay. Has he responded yet?
Yes, he
Like in a
responded.
statement?
He responded plenty.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he was not a happy camper. You can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Donald Trump? Let me look on his Twitter feed quick and see if I can find something. Well, he said this. He said the Supreme Court is being played by the radical left losers who have no support. The public hates them, and their only hope is the intimidation of the court itself. We can't let that happen to our country.
Wow. So he called them losers,
Called them monsters.
said everybody hates them. Okay.
This is not, see,
Um,
I'm not on truth and I don't have my phone. But
okay, that's fine. So I have a question for you, Todd.
mhm.
Why, what was the reason, the rationale that was given by the Supreme Court for this vote? Because the number surprises me. The 7-2
Yeah, the only
surprises
two on
me.
the right side were
Oh,
Alito and Thomas.
Thomas, yeah. Okay.
Hmm. The two rock solid
Right.
pillars of actual rationality on the Supreme Court.
Right. Yeah. And everyone listening, this is not just sour grapes and because, they're on our side. It's literally the side of common sense.
Yeah, so
So,
generally
okay.
Kavanaugh and Gorsuch
7.
will,
Yeah.
I think my guess is that this was not a final ruling, but it was procedural enough that I guess they were. I don't know. I don't know if Roberts twisted their arm
Hmm.
into, junior justices and you got to go this way or what. But
Okay.
um, it's interesting to me because I thought that the courts don't have any power. They have no power whatsoever. Now,
Mm.
we don't
They
realize
just have
that.
power. I was gonna say they just have power in the courts.
Well, they only have power to the extent that the other branches respect that we all say, okay, you have power. That's not
Okay.
true of the president. The president has an army. And
Okay.
that's not true of Congress because Congress holds control of of the purse of all the funds. So the Congress funds the army.
Okay.
So those and it's
Got
the
it.
army really that's the big thing. That's what Abraham Lincoln showed us. How do you keep a union together? With an army. That's what.
That'll do it. Okay.
So and the Supreme Court just doesn't have I think by design. I think our founders were brilliant when it came to this. They knew that a body like the Supreme Court would come to consider itself a god or a
Mm-hmm.
godlike entity, and
Right.
therefore they didn't give it any of the powers necessary to enforce any of their own opinions. They rely on both other branches of Congress for any enforcement at all. I mean, they can't do anything. What are they? They might have like a bailiff under their control. I mean, they don't have like they can send Barney Fife off to go get the president and bring him in. I mean, it's just the whole thing is a
Right.
little ridiculous. So I would have one would think that the court would have cared enough about its own legitimacy to not wade into this fight in this direction, but they have not. And I think what's happening is we've had things steadily exposed. Right
Right.
now, we're in the midst of having the courts exposed for
Mm.
just how corrupt and deep state they are.
Well, and that's what concerns me too. It's like for them, like you said, you're surprised that they're, kind of going into this fight. Like
Yeah.
they know what they're heading towards. So what that tells me is that they have support somewhere. I don't know if their support is in Congress
Well, either
or
that or they,
outside of,
or somebody, some entity has
right.
enough over on most
Hmm.
of them,
Right. Which
seven
is a
of them.
problem.
Well, it wouldn't even have to be seven, but it'd have to be.
Right.
I don't know with ACB. ACB, Amy Coney Barrett,
Right.
has been a miserable choice, a miserable
Hmm.
justice, just bad almost down the line.
Yeah. I
She
mean,
She
I wouldn't
voted
be
against Roe
surprised.
v. Wade, so she
Yep.
was a vote on that. But after
Yep.
that, it's not been it's been pretty bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if, 30 years from now, we find out that she was, being held at, proverbial gunpoint.
She yeah. Whether or not they have anything
Someone's
on her,
threatening her hard.
I think she got scared. I think she's scared
Yep.
for her family, for
It makes me
everything, and
sad. It's
so
really sad.
yeah,
It's
it's
all
unfortunate that she's that weak. But
unfortunate. It's all effed up.
so
So,
anyway, the
okay.
courts did that, which wasn't
Okay.
great, but we'll see how it shakes out. I tend to
Okay.
think that Trump mostly knew this was probably coming. Like, I
Okay.
don't think that Trump's surprised by a lot of this. Do you
Well,
know what
that's a
I mean?
relief. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that because I'm pretty surprised. Especially the number 7-2 just
Yeah,
surprises me. It's steeper than I would have guessed.
I agree. I think it was steeper than a lot of people did. So
Mm, mm,
it's a
mm,
frontal
mm.
assault on the executive branch, and it's not only that, but there's been different Supreme Court justices who've gone out and they're talking about. they're kind of, we've got to rein in the executive branch. I mean, just nobody elected you to rein in anything. We just
Right. And I'm sorry, I can't believe no one thought about reining in the executive branch for the last 4 years.
under the corpse. Did you hear
Ridiculous.
the news about the corpse today?
That's the only thing I just heard
You did hear about Biden.
about a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So prostate cancer
Aggressive stage 5 prostate cancer that's
and
already
into like the
metastasized to the bones. Is that
bones.
what
I
I
heard
read?
something about the bones. So, I mean, it's surprising that cancer could be growing in a corpse, but
It's,
anything.
cancer's aggressive. It's a real
Modern
aggressive cancer.
modern medicine actually, and honestly, like, I'm not making light of his diagnosis. That's awful. But
If it's true.
if it's true, I know.
It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting. You probably haven't seen this. I
Hmm.
didn't cue this up because it's like a 4-minute tape.
Okay.
And in order to get through it, it's a lot of like silent. Remember Biden sat down with the special prosecutor for the interview, and the special prosecutor, remember Biden had classified documents strewn all over his garage in his
Right, right,
Mustang.
right. Wait, is this the he just had an interview on like this past week or excuse
Well,
me, this
yeah,
past
but
meet
I'm
like at the
talking
Meet the
back in
Press?
2021.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
2021, the special prosecutor
Sure.
interviewed him about the classified documents. Remember, the
Yes.
special prosecutor in his report said no reasonable person would charge Biden because he was so befuddled and confused. Remember that?
Okay. Sure.
Well, see, what happened is all we ever heard about was we may have seen a transcript and we heard what was in the report, but we never actually heard the tapes. Well, the DOJ this week released the tape,
Oh,
or at least
okay.
some of the tape. Axios got a hold of it anyway, and they
Interesting.
released at least, I think, 4 minutes of it or a little
Okay.
over.
Oh
And
gosh,
it's
how's
Biden
that?
talking, and he doesn't know where he's at. It's exactly what you would think he would be
Wow.
like, unfiltered.
Wow.
So it's interesting that comes out, and see, I think that people Jake Tapper's book came out. Oh God, this is
Oh yeah,
something.
you and I talked about Jake Tapper's book last week,
We did.
and I'm glad you brought it up again. Like, 'cause it had just been previewed, but it was actually
These
released now, right?
the gall of these
Oh no.
people.
Oh
You
no.
got okay now. Let's listen to. This is just the gall. It really is something. It's like what? So this is the man himself, Jake Tapper, David Axelrod, who ran Obama's campaigns,
Okay.
and Van Jones, the black
Oh yeah,
CNN
yeah.
guy, Van
Remember
Jones,
him?
right?
Uh-huh.
CNN news anchor, I think. I don't think he's
Yes.
anything other than that. Well, here they are talking, all leftist,
Yeah.
and they're appalled. I can't.
What are they appalled by? Are they appalled
Van, I
by
remember how
Jake?
emotional you were in the immediate moments after the June 27th, 2024 debate
Oh,
because
debate.
of what you saw on the stage. And with all this new reporting coming out, and I should disclose that I gave both of you copies of
I
the book so you
reported
would
it.
have a little bit more information. Do you feel like you were duped, Van? Like, how do you feel?
Were you duped?
First, this book is extraordinary.
These people are such liars.
I know.
I mean, they just
Feign
bald
shock.
face,
Right.
like
Absolutely.
they
Weren't
don't
they
even
saying,
expect that anybody will remember anything they said for 4 years.
weren't they claiming after the debate that he like had a cold and he had been
Oh, yeah,
sick or
and before
something?
that,
So
he was the
he's a
best
little
they'd ever seen.
right.
All
Well,
of
and
them.
I don't care who you
after he
are,
was.
left, right, or otherwise. Anybody who cares about this country and about just the dynamics of power, this is the emperor's new clothes
Oh.
playing itself
Oh
out
my
in
gosh.
real time.
Are you
Everybody
serious?
knew,
Oh
my
but
gosh.
everyone was afraid to say, except for David Axelrod, for 2 years, that something was wrong here.
Except all of us
And so,
conspiracy theorists.
yeah, I was shocked.
I've been
I
calling him
love
the
Joe
corpse
Biden. I don't like him.
since
I love him. I got a
2020.
chance to work with him when I was a part of the Obama administration and loved him more every day. I was shocked to see his condition when he came out, and so was the world.
Oh,
and
I
that wasn't the
come
first time he was in that condition.
on.
The book makes it very, very clear. There are people who
It wasn't
knew
the last
and said
time,
nothing.
Van.
And that is a crime against
He's
this
in that condition
republic.
every
And I
freaking
think the
day.
Democrats are going to pay for a long time for being a part of what is now being revealed to be a massive cover-up.
A mess.
But these three,
of which I was of no part. Like he's saying,
these
I was no
three
part.
are as pure as the wind-driven snow. They are
Wow.
shocked and appalled to find out
No.
that
The
Joe Biden wasn't at his best.
I know. Like
I
everyone
just,
should be I love this. Everyone who loves this country is like, "Oh my gosh, feigning the shock." Yeah, you know who was saying it? No one was saying anything. All the conspiracy theorists, we were saying it. It was plain as day. So, okay, so these people,
CNN wonders why they're down to like 500,000 viewers.
emperor's new clothes. What a great analogy. And are these people just were their eyes just finally opened?
That's what they act like. They
But
had no idea. Somebody's got to pay for this. What? You're the
well,
ones who have
mm,
to pay. What do you are
mm,
paying. No one listens to you. You're the laughing stock of the country. You're paying. It's
it's
unbelievable.
terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
But you know who saw this coming?
Ooh,
A while back, you'd be surprised. Back when he was still president, Obama had some ideas. This is President Barack Hussein Obama,
okay.
also known as Big Mike's husband.
If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or
Oh,
front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. I'd be fine with that because I found the work fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, I write about the even in my on my worst days, I found puzzling out, you know.
I think they cut the clip there. I think he was about to say something about Big Mike on his worst days, but even then,
Right.
he
Oh
loves
yeah.
him.
I was gonna say, I have heard him say that before, and it's so telling.
That's the auto pen. Like that's what just
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
His problem was that
Rock was the auto pen.
the only thing he could find was a dementia-ridden puppet, and that created some problems for them.
Right. Well, I think Hillary would have been one too, probably not as pliable.
Yeah, she might have had some ideas of her own.
She would have, but everyone just couldn't stand her.
Yeah, they did not like her at all.
No. Oh
So
my gosh.
so that's going on.
Good
Biden, yeah.
grief.
So Biden will be gone probably very soon. And
I
see,
mean, I don't know.
here's
It
the
depends
issue.
on how much, Jill's got in her little black medical bag.
If they've got a lot riding on the fact that nobody digs too far into this cognitive stuff, because there's an awful lot of people whose entire lives are hanging on these auto pen illegal pardons that were done at the end, the preemptive pardons.
Oh,
And
interesting.
if they dig too far and they realize all of those should be wiped out, there's a lot of the deep state that's in trouble at that point. The
Yeah.
J6 committee, all Biden's
No,
family. I mean, it's all up and down.
I didn't even
So
think about the
the
pardons.
wall,
I think the auto.
that's why the stage 5 cancer is so important. They have got to
Okay.
take this guy out, and it's got to be not something cognitive that's been going on, and he's got to
Right.
go out fast. We
You
got
know
to
what I'm
get this
surprised?
dude into his coffin.
Todd, I'm surprised. Hold on. I'm surprised they didn't say that this had metastasized to his brain.
No, I know. Well, see
I'm
that,
sur
but they're running into the same problem. They're really, I mean, I'm telling you, these preemptive
yeah, they're
pardons,
skirting the whole mental capacity
and I'm
entirely.
quite certain the Supreme Court will find those perfectly fine based on what their record.
Right. Right.
So, so that's going on. Now,
Well,
in addition to that,
okay.
you've got. I just want to remind you, the Republican Congress is worthless. It's 100% worthless.
Oh
They're
my
not
gosh.
going to do anything.
Oh, there are a couple great people in there. They're just not enough.
They they came out with their big beautiful bill this week. And
Okay.
do you know that they can't, there is not a single penny of spending cuts. The
Really?
it 2019 pre-COVID, the
Okay.
US budget was somewhere in the range of a little, let's say 5.6 trillion. It was something like that.
Okay.
And then post-COVID, right now, our budget is 7.4 trillion.
Ooh.
They can't even bring themselves to go back to 2019 levels. They haven't cut a dime. They kept the Green New Deal. There's not a single thing they cut anywhere. You can
Wow.
hear all this talk
Yeah.
about
Well,
Doge,
that's
and you
worthless.
can
Yeah.
hear all this talk about other stuff. But and you know what? Maybe Doge can cut things. But my point is, the same amount of money is going to be slushing around somewhere.
Wow.
And if you don't think that these bastards in Congress will find a way to pocket it, they will. That's what they do.
Wow.
Everything they're based on their it's like these people with Biden stage 5 cancer diagnosis and the
Hmm.
preemptive pardons. Congress, every part of their lifestyle, every part of their livelihood is riding on these lobbyists and their kickbacks. And so every time something comes up, there's a congressman, and it doesn't matter, he's probably a Republican, who's like, wait a minute, you can't mess with my lobbyist.
Oh my gosh.
Get
I
his.
know.
And they're just not going to do anything. I think that Trump has this baked into his so what Trump's going for in this big beautiful bill, he doesn't expect them to cut any spending at all, I don't think. So what I
Okay.
think he's going after is I think he thinks he needs the tax cuts and he doesn't care what they do to the deficit and I think that Trump has decided, you saw this with his Saudi trip, how he got like $2 trillion worth of investment coming over from commitments to invest in the United States from these Middle East
Okay.
countries. And I think Trump has determined that the only way out of this deficit problem, destroying
Hmm.
our economy and destroying America,
Hmm.
is to outgrow it. And it can be outgrown actually if you can
Outgrow the deficit.
if you could manage a five
Okay.
4 to 5% growth over a succession of like 7, 8, 10 years,
Okay.
you could outgrow the deficit and you could deal with it that way. We haven't
Okay.
seen anything quite like that, any growth like that, in any kind of sustained growth like that.
Right. Hmm.
At least not lately. Probably Trump would go back to the golden years of tariffs and tell us that they did, and they probably did. But lately we haven't seen anything. So I
Okay.
think what Trump has decided to do is to get the tax cuts, get all the incentives built into the thing that he can,
Hmm.
and at the same time do on every lever he has to pull, he's trying to supercharge this economy. And
Yeah. He is.
I think Trump believes that he can out, in addition to fighting the deep state, I think he thinks he can outgrow it.
Well, that would be
I,
something else.
I
I
don't
wonder.
know if it's true. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see, but
I don't know
it's
if that's
ambitious. There's no
possible.
doubt about that.
Right.
And he's going after it. I mean, the foreign investment he's getting and everything else, I think we're going to see a boom.
I
So,
hope so. Remember, I said weeks ago, I was like, he's got to do this fast.
well, the stock market's up over last year, right?
It's the last I heard it was like right about like back to
Last
where we
year.
were. Yeah.
Okay.
Like yeah, last fall. I think that's what I've heard.
So,
I don't know if we passed it yet.
and the odds of a recession have tanked significally. They're now down to
Excellent.
36% on Polymarket. They were up above
Excellent.
50. So,
Yep.
I've said it for a while now that I think
Hmm.
Trump's trying to thread a hell of a needle, but I think he might do it. I
He
think
can do it.
I think and I was talking with a guy,
Yeah.
Mike, actually, from my church. He listens to
Okay.
podcasts. And so, hey, Mike, shout out to Mike out there.
Hi,
Um,
Mike.
he was at the market where Lauren's playing today. His
Oh,
his
cool.
mom bakes and sells these like gourmet homemade like pretzels and makes these homemade dips, and they're
Oh,
so good. I had one. They're
nice.
so good.
Are they crunchy pretzels or soft?
Soft.
Like hot soft pretzels?
And
Oh,
like the one
yum.
I had was like a jalapeno and cheddar one, and it was so good
Oh
with
my
like a hot honey
gosh.
dip. Oh my God. I would give
Nice.
her a plug. I can't remember the name of her
Thanks,
company that
Mike's
she does.
mom.
But anyway, I was talking with him and about, just what's going on. He listens to the
Hmm.
show and we were talking about what's going on. And I told him my theory that I think Trump he's gonna try to outrun it
Okay.
and basically
Maybe he can do
put
it.
the accelerator down hard enough
Yeah.
and because he's frustrated too. He's like, why can't we even get back to 2019 levels? Like nobody
Yeah.
understands why Congress won't. Congress pays zero attention to the voters, which seems weird because the U.S. House of Representatives with elections every 2 years was set up so they'd be the most responsive branch to the voters.
Right.
But that's just not the reality that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, I think they get their intentions are good, many of them. They get there and then they're just caught up in,
Immediately corrupted.
well, and I was going to say, and I think some of them aren't even corrupted. Some of them just get there and they just realize they've idealized the whole job, the role that they have, the
Yeah.
impact, and it's just they're sucked into it. It's like they have to play a game in order to function within the machine that exists there. And
And
what
if
that
they
ends up
and if they play the game, they also happen to get rich. So it's a hell of
that
an
I was going to say,
incentive.
there's where the corruption comes in. But even before that, I think just as
Yeah.
it functions, like it's just not what they think. They're not going to walk in and say, you know, my constituents want this. Like they don't get a chance to do that. And so it just
Yeah.
ends up looking like,
And I'm
yeah,
not
they're
even
not paying
saying that
attention.
Congress can't be fixed. I think if the
Yep.
if the American public wakes up
Hmm.
enough,
Yeah.
and then over the course of 2 or 3 or 4 elections, if there's a if Trump can build a lasting coalition
Hmm.
that has the will to stick together
Gosh, I
and
hope
actually
so.
change, I think
Yep.
they and get the right people, and I think that over time we can possibly correct it. But
Oh,
I
did you start to
not
say
corrupt it.
corrupted?
Yeah, corrected is what I wanted.
Uncorrupt. Yes.
You know
Clean it up.
who one of the things I've been talking a lot about that I've had, I've
Hmm.
been I've been extremely skeptical, shall we say,
Okay.
about the ability of cleaning up the DOJ and the FBI.
Oh, yes.
I
You
have I
feel,
have been
yes.
somewhat jaded about
Sure.
the two.
Do you have some new opinions or no? You're just
Well,
going to reiterate
today,
what a lost cause.
it was today, I think it was this morning,
Okay.
that both Kash Patel and Dan Bongino went on Mary, what's her name?
Oh, Bart,
Bartiromo?
yeah,
I'm
Bart.
messing it up.
Shoot, I know her. I'm so
On Fox News,
sorry.
the finance
Yeah,
chick. She's
yeah,
pretty, and
yeah. Hold on.
you know who I'm talking about.
It's,
Bartiromo.
yeah.
Maria Bartiromo, right?
Hold
And
on.
so they were on there today for something of a long
Maria Bartiromo.
Maria
Yes,
Bartiromo for something of a
yes.
long form interview. And I've got a few clips
She
from
is
it.
a smart woman. Do you watch her?
Some. I don't watch a
Oh
lot.
my
I watch some
gosh.
clips.
Just just a side note, a shout out to her. She is one of the smartest people on Fox.
You were about to say woman.
I was going to say woman, and I'm like,
She's one of the smartest women I ever met.
I
No,
just
I'm
realized
just
it's like,
kidding.
no, she's just incredibly intelligent. Love listening to her. Okay, so she did a long interview
A long
Cash
form interview
with
of
Cash
Kash
Patel
Patel
and Dan
and Dan
Bongino.
Bongino.
And this
So
was when?
this morning.
Oh,
And
nice.
so we're recording on Sunday, by the way, guys. You're going to get it on Tuesdays. But
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so Kash Patel is the director of the FBI.
Hmm.
Dan Bongino, former famous podcaster, Secret Service agent, all the things.
Hmm.
He
Was
resigned his
his deputy,
podcast, at least
correct?
temporarily, to be the
Hmm.
deputy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess deputy attorney general, maybe, or no, deputy
I thought it
director of
was
the FBI.
deputy.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm mixing them up. Okay,
Working with him. Yeah.
so here they are. She's they're asking Maria Bartiromo was asking them about people like me, people more than me,
Hmm.
are a lot more boisterous than me. I've been disappointed, looking for arrests, looking for things, right?
Yes.
We felt
Yes.
like we
Totally.
haven't
Just got to
gotten.
push back.
Yeah.
Listen,
Here's
we've been
Dan.
here 2 months. He's been here a couple more weeks than that. I mean, we've been here 2 months. You're dealing with a 38,000 member organization and an approximately $12 billion budget.
Fair point.
Where to expect us in 2 months to dig up what was a 8-year, maybe longer, multi-year politicized investigation with multiple layers of processes, from Woods procedures being just thrown in the garbage can and flushed down the toilet bowl, to multiple layers of accountability where people lied and obfuscated. I'm not asking you to trust me. You want this done right or you want it done quickly? Because you can't have it both ways. You want it done quickly, we'll do it. And you know what'll happen? Just what happened last time. Those same Spygate collusion perpetrators sued the government, got money, got all this. You want that? We'll do it. We'll do it quickly and do it wrong.
But are you saying you found things that even you didn't know about? I mean, you were at the core of this.
Yes.
Yes.
I was the lead Russiagate investigator for the House Intelligence
This is
Committee.
cash.
And I've been on both your shows in a prior life talking about it. And I'm telling you and the American public that we have now found material and information and people who wanted to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. And we, as the deputy said, we are trying to do it in a fashion where not only are we informing the American public of what happened, but we can have accountability for it. And that takes a little bit more time. And when you layer on the fact that we are rolling out our priorities on violent crime and defending the homeland, you know, we're running a three-part animal here, and we're going 100 miles an hour on each single one.
Well, that's encouraging, right?
It is encouraging. How do you feel about that?
I felt encouraged.
Oh, yay! Well, I was going to say, if you feel encouraged, that says a lot.
I did. That's
interesting.
It encourages me that, listen, I'm willing to give them the time. I always have been.
Right, of course.
And I have, to be fair, always said that my impression of both of the FBI and the DOJ being corrupted beyond repair has nothing to do with my opinion of either Kash Patel or Dan Bongino.
Oh, 100%.
When I say beyond repair, I mean beyond repair for Iron Man and the Avengers. I just think it's beyond repair.
I know, that's why you've been saying, just burn the whole place down to the ground, salt the earth.
But
But
I have also said if two people could do it, or not more than two people, you know,
Sure.
you got Pam Bondi behind you, you got Trump behind you. If it could be done,
yes,
I believe that these are the two people who could do it. And
I feel like the team is strong. It's not just here, but in all these areas. I feel
I'm
like
willing to give them the time to do it. I really, I don't
all right, let's
have.
go. We got to start praying for those guys.
There's another clip here about the. This is good. Now this is good. This is good. I have to say, this is Kash talking about the FBI headquarters. This is important news.
Okay.
Look, the FBI is 38,000 when we're fully manned, which we're not. In the National Capital Region, in the 50-mile radius around Washington, D.C., there were 11,000 FBI employees. That's like a third of the workforce. A third of the crime doesn't happen here. So we're taking 1,500 of those folks and moving them out. Every state's getting a plus up. And I think when we do things like that, we inspire folks in America to become intel analysts and agents and say, we want to go work at the FBI because we want to go fight violent crime and we want to get sent out into the country to do it. And that's what we're doing in the next 3, 6, 9 months. We're going to do that hard. And, you know, I didn't know that I was going to do this, but I'm going to announce it on your show anyway. This FBI is leaving the Hoover building because this building is unsafe for our workforce, and we want the workforce.
You just gave up a big nugget.
We want the American men and women to know, if you're going to come work at the premier law enforcement agency in the world, we're going to give you a building that's commensurate with that. And that's not this place.
Burn it down and salt the earth, Kash.
Erect a large bronze statue of Kash Patel.
I like moving. I like the idea of moving agents out into the country.
Yep.
You know, other areas of the country where things are actually happening. I like. I got more clips. They're really. Okay. I'm going to tell you, out of all these, I like them all. They all sound good to me. You know what I mean? It's like
I love it.
That's part of why I'm playing this, because I've been a little bit. Not that I've been hard on them. I haven't been hard on them. I've just been hard on the idea of the FBI.
Yeah, hard on the task at hand, because it's like a mountain that seems insurmountable.
This is Dan Bongino, basically issuing a warning to child predators. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You're gonna like it.
He's pretty passionate about this.
I love Bongino. I love Bongino.
Yes.
That freaking disposable 2-gram vape I got. What in the world?
Did you have a pop-up ad?
Yeah, we had knock at the door. It's on Amazon. That's going to be us. This is a huge job. And Maria, not only does it destroy innocence, I said to everyone in the room, say week 2 or 3, when Kash and I put Restoring Justice together to go get these mutts off the street, these kitty pornographers and these animals, right? I said to everyone in the room, I said, you know why this is going to matter to America? Because everyone in the room is a child or a parent, right? There's no immaculate conceptions here, right? I love Jesus, but there's no one in the room, right? I said, this matters. And not only that, it creates generational crime because abused kids then become abusers in a lot of these cases. I said, we have a chance right now. I said, we got to go make their lives painful, these bad guys. And we went and we locked up in a month, 400? We saved 115 kids. And you haven't even seen the beginning because those 400, a lot of them are talking. And when you log onto that network next, you have no idea what we're doing. You think you're safe in your dark web? I promise you are absolutely not safe. You have no idea what we can do.
It's like having Batman in the FBI. I love it. It makes you feel better, right?
More of that. That makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
You know what? I love that. Dan Bongino needs to read Witness. That's super cool.
This one was interesting. This is Cash talking about Canada.
Okay.
And not any of the 51st state stuff.
Okay.
About the porous border up there. It's interesting.
Okay.
But you know who has to get to step in is Canada. Because they're making it up there and shipping it down here.
Fentanyl.
And I don't care about getting into this debate
as high as I can go.
Someone the 51st state or not. But they are our partner in the north. And say what you want about Mexico, but they helped us seal the southern border. The facts speak for themselves. The border that's open, I'll give you a statistic that I gave to Congress that nobody was paying attention to. Over 300 known or suspected terrorists crossed into this country last year illegally. Known or suspected terrorists, not illegals. Not just illegals, known or suspected terrorists. 85% of them came in through the northern border. Wow. This year, 100 known or suspected terrorists have crossed into this country illegally. 64 are south and north.
General.
How about that? That surprised me. That more suspected terrorists are coming through the northern border than the southern border. I didn't know that.
Well, and I was going to say, that's one of the things I've worried about is up there is because I think everyone just focuses on the southern border. We think of drugs and like the cartels in Mexico, but yeah, these terrorists, they're all coming in through Canada. It's terrible. I hate it. How many did he say?
He said 400 last year.
400.
And 300 of them came through Canada.
Interesting.
Something like that. And then and over 65% this year.
I wonder how they know that.
I don't know. That's interesting.
They've caught
Why don't you
them?
go get them if you know where they're at?
I know. It's like, does that mean you've caught them and you've interrogated? And they're like, yeah, like 3/4 of them came in through Canada. They told us before we sent them back home.
Maybe Cash is just making it up.
Before we went and handed them over to the courts for their due process.
Maybe he's like, I got Batman over here I got to compete with.
He's like, I'm going to make up some big stats.
Now this one, we'll see what you think about. This is about Jeffrey Epstein. And what Maria Bartiromo is asking them is, did he commit suicide?
Oh my gosh. Do they weigh in?
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Okay.
I wonder if Maria followed that up with, and why did the video cut out just before he did that? Like, come on.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I was like, But I mean, I believe they've been through everything, and I believe that whatever was done was made to look like a suicide.
Yeah, I mean, the file might very well indicate that he killed himself.
And then Bongino did say, maybe I heard a different clip that was a little longer, where he said if he gets any more new information, he'll be the first one to share it.
Okay.
But
the info that they have, which
that's what he says.
Okay.
Got it. And then the last clip we're gonna play is about our dear. It's not as entertaining, as our dear old friend Tish is, but it's about Tish.
Okay.
It's about Tish James, the Attorney General of Maryland or New York, wherever. I can't remember wherever she lives or has her. She's married to her dad, and I don't know where she lives.
She's what? What do you say?
Oh, that was on her mortgage application. She was married to her dad. Remember?
That's right.
Her principal residence is in
I
Maryland.
forgot about that. Okay.
That's what she's in trouble for. Like she's
Yeah, I
indicted.
forgot. The
Well,
dad.
here Maria Bartiromo asked about Tish.
Okay.
The other issue that's been talked about recently is this mortgage fraud and the FBI opening a formal case against Letitia James.
Tish.
So again, ongoing cases, and we take our ongoing investigations very seriously because we don't want to do what our predecessors did, which is talk about them ad infinitum in the public and then nothing happens. This case, I can tell you, is being handled by our professional pros who are subject matter experts reporting directly to headquarters, which reports to Dan and I. This case, along with others, because it is a case of great public importance.
So don't worry about it. It's their professional pros. I think that's
Okay.
something of a repeat. But
Okay, gotcha. Oh yeah, that was a little redundant. I hear it now. That's funny. So,
so the Tish's case is being handled by the professional pros.
thank
That's
goodness.
the most important thing to take away
Yeah.
from that.
We don't want her case handled by the amateur pros in the FBI.
And you know what? I agree with them. You don't need to. The FBI doesn't need to be out there trying to sway the case in public opinion when they're
Right.
the ones trying to make it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I like that change and I agree with him there. And so it's enough to know that Tish's sizable African American feet are being held to the fire. Their statue.
Wow. So do you think well, I mean, she asked the question in the interview. So do you think that was just his diplomatic way of saying, yeah, we're handling it, but I'm not going to talk about any details about it now.
Yeah.
It's kind of what he said,
Yeah,
right?
it's hard to say. It's hard to say where that one will end up.
Okay.
You know, will it go? Will it not go? I don't know.
We got to see something. They can take their time, like you said, but we got to see something.
Well, I agree with you 100% there. So, what else in the world's going on?
Well, yeah, what else is going on?
This is Trump talking about the corpse,
Oh, really?
about his old buddy Joe.
Actively for 2 months. So in 2 months, we have probably over $10 trillion committed. $10 trillion. Whereas most presidents wouldn't have $1 trillion over the course of the entire presidency. And if you look at this poor soul, this lost soul from the last presidency, and I say that because he was a very mean person. They went after our people, including me.
He's right.
But he was a very mean person. He was not a smart person. In fact, if you go back 30 years ago, he wasn't a smart person. You go back to prime time with him, he wasn't a smart person. But
he's a long way
he
past
was a very
prime
mean
time.
person. Joe Biden's a very mean person.
He's right.
People don't understand that. They've ruined lives. They've ruined families. They've ruined so many people. They could have ruined me. They tried to ruin me. But we're now in Air Force One, flying nicely to the Middle East. Right? But they tried to ruin me. But some people weren't able to fight back. Their families have been destroyed. And the level he knew of actively.
That was good.
That's funny.
So now I'm in Air Force One, flying to the Middle
flying
East.
nicely. I like how he's flying nicely. So, well, okay. So he's talking about now. I thought I heard that Joe Biden just did an interview this week.
Oh, he did one last week. We talked about it, didn't we? Did we play it or not?
I think so.
We didn't. I thought we did. Yeah, we did. We played it on last week's news.
We did?
Yeah, you don't remember. I think we did.
Wait.
Yeah, because remember Joe.
Oh, wait, no, that was The View. That was The View, but there was something else.
I don't know if there was. If there was, I don't have any clips of it or didn't become aware of it or whatever. So,
okay.
Yeah. That was Trump on Biden. This is RFK. He was in a this was like a congressional hearing.
Right.
And
I actually did see something about this.
And it was a Democrat, I think, congressman, Representative DeLauro, and going off on Kennedy on the typical talking points. And Kennedy kind of let him have it.
Anybody thinks that we did gold standard medicine in this country from these institutions, look at our children. They're the sickest children in the world. Laura, you say that excuse me, Congressman DeLauro, you say that you've worked for 20 years on getting food dye out. Give me credit. I got it out in 100 days.
Period.
All right, so let's work together and do something that we all believe in, which is have healthy kids in our country, for God's sake. We can all do that together. It's not, there's no such thing as Republican children and Democratic children. There's just kids, and we should all be concerned with them.
Thank you.
I think he's right on about that.
Yeah, amen to that.
Thank God we got somebody that actually gives a shit about kids.
I know.
You know?
We have someone who actually just cares about health.
Yeah, I think I'm happy. I think Bobby's doing a good job. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he seems to be to me. So
it's great.
This is Trump in the Middle East talking about the Middle East.
Okay.
You're going to hear from him a different approach.
Okay.
To his philosophy about the countries in the Middle East is significantly different than we've had for some time.
Okay.
You'll hear it.
Okay.
Hopefully.
And it's crucial for the wider.
Is that not loud
That's
enough?
Too low.
You know what? That was the one. That was why I wasn't going to use that one. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I can't use that one.
So, okay. Are you looking? Do you have another or no?
No, I don't have one for him. I just that was the one I had. That was a good one, but it was it's not gonna.
It's too quiet.
I forgot that it was quiet.
Oh, okay.
I realized it after I sent it to myself, and I thought I just forgot.
Is it different than his approach to them? So I don't even know that I'm really familiar with what I should say how he did it, but he got all these Middle Eastern countries like to the table together in these peace talks and everything. You remember his first term?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know how he did it, but it was just amazing. Everyone's minds were blown that
Here
he was
it is.
able
Let's
to
see
pull
if
this
this.
off. Oh,
let's see if this works.
Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other.
Well, I don't know what just happened. Sorry, guys.
People of different nations out of existence. We don't want that.
Not bombing each other out of existence.
Mm-hmm. No, there've got to be people there who want
And it's
that.
crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it.
You look like you got something to say.
Well, what are these nation builders he's referring to?
George W. Bush.
Okay.
Dick Cheney. Donald Rumsfeld.
Did they call themselves nation builders?
Yeah,
Clinton
too would have been one.
It's not a term that I'm familiar with. And what
Actually,
were the nations?
There was if you remember, Clinton was talked about nation building. They would go into Kosovo
Okay.
and all kinds of things over there. Well,
Oh boy.
there was a debate, the debate between in 2000 between one of the debates between George W. Bush and Al Gore.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Al Gore was a fan of nation building, and George W. Bush actually said in the debate, we've got to stop trying to become a country of nation builders, and then went on to do it more than anyone else in.
Oh no. You know why? Because all the powers that be made him do that,
Mhm.
probably.
So he is
Shoot.
taking on the neocons who wanted wars everywhere and wanted to replace. I mean, the reason that we have the little the little comedian in Ukraine is because of the CIA. That's the only reason he's there. They had a color revolution and they took out the existing government in 2014, and that pissed Putin off because Ukraine happens to be right next to Russia.
Yep.
And they installed the little dictator comedian, and
Right. The
the
little
rest is
dancing
history.
actor. Okay.
But they're doing this all over. They basically are getting involved in foreign governments
Right.
and trying to overthrow them. We
I was gonna say
overthrow
it's not even
Iraq,
really
and then we got to
nation.
rebuild
Yeah.
Iraq.
It's like little government building is what they're
Yeah.
doing there. Yeah.
And Trump is just not about any of that. And he's
Right.
saying, you guys are doing a great job, and we want a Middle East that's built on commerce.
Nice.
Like, I just think
themselves.
It's almost
Peace,
over.
prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love
Wow.
so
He
dearly.
sounds like such a xenophobe.
I know. Look at him go. That's Hitler right there. That's Adolf Hitler talking to the Arabs. The Arabs had camel parades for Hitler. They did. They were lining. I mean, you should
That's
see the way,
interesting.
if you haven't watched anything, but the way that
Mhm.
Trump has been received in these
Okay,
foreign
yeah,
countries
so-
is unbelievable.
So I heard about one thing, and it was just this act of, of honoring him or whatever, and it was like, oh, interesting. But that was really all I heard. It was just
Oh my God, they had
They were
this
kind of
entire
treating him-
street like lined with camels, and then his motorcade had camels on either side.
Oh, really?
And they had like a foreign, I don't know if it was Qatar or who it was he was flying into, or if it was Saudi, and their jets kind of flew Air Force One in, and they were banking. This was one of the first times that Air Force One has been kind of banked and protected by foreign fighters.
Whoa.
So it's kind of cool. You know what I
What?
mean? It was
That's
just
pretty crazy.
the way that Trump's being received on the international stage
Mm-hmm.
is just, we're respected again. America's back.
Well, it's so interesting how around the world, how he's viewed compared to, some people here. It's just,
Yeah, exactly.
I think the media around the world, though, thinks he's crazy. I think that it's kind of leaked
Yeah.
into just the media everywhere.
Well, yeah, the media's,
Mm-hmm.
they're,
You're like, yeah.
I mean, they don't even really count. But here's Jasmine, our old friend, Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett.
It's shocking, but she's talking about Trump.
Oh my gosh, I know.
We can start with the fact that he ever got reelected in the first place. That was a mistake.
That's a mistake.
But, if we just want to go to over the weekend, threatening to arrest members of Congress, deciding that he's going to take his new plane, his empire in the sky from the Qataris, or the fact that, yes, the prices of everything have gone up, and the fact that he said he was going to stop wars, and somehow it seems like we've got yet another war.
By the way, did you know that Trump shut down the war between India and Pakistan? Did I tell you that last time? Did we talk about that last time?
No, we did not talk about that last
Hadn't
time.
happened, I don't think, yet last time.
Possibly not. It was like I think it had started between them, but
There's
what did he
been
do?
lots of saber rattling.
Okay.
And Trump just said basically to both of them, listen, we need this to stop. We've got two nuclear powers. We want to trade and work with both of you, but only if this gets shut down. And the next day there was a ceasefire.
Perfect.
So,
Oh my gosh. So what's Jasmine upset about?
well, Jasmine. She likes to make it up as she goes.
that is kicked off. The fact that he loves Putin more than he loves us. And as you were just talking about,
More than
the
he loves
Canadians
us.
are our friends. And he doesn't quite realize that either.
Interesting. You said, like, the
Colbert's
White
show.
House has said that the idea of arresting members of Congress is on the table here. As a member of Congress, what's your reaction to that? Are people talking about it in the cloakrooms?
Well, I mean, this all just happened over the weekend, so we go back into session tomorrow. But what I will tell you...
It's important to know that Congress only works about 1 day a week, and even then, they don't work very hard. They're not talking about much up there. They're mostly collecting the funds. They got the lobbyists who come in with their envelopes, just like on The Sopranos, and that's what they do, and then they go home.
Is that we are standing 10 toes down for our members. Listen, we have jobs and...
What does that mean, 10 toes down?
I don't know.
I have no idea what that...
I'm going to look that up while she yaps.
Like some other people, say the big guy in the White House who has spent 25% of his time golfing. We actually care about our jobs, and we are trying to serve the American people, and we have a duty of oversight over these agencies. And knowing that they are literally just kidnapping people off of the streets, and we don't know what types of conditions they are putting them in, I think that I actually want to applaud my fellow members of Congress who don't take their jobs lightly, but instead take them very seriously, especially in this moment.
That's no one in Congress, for the record.
Okay, I'm sorry. Here we go. This is a phrase adopted by the hip hop community. There we go.
What is it? 10 toes down?
10 toes down. It suggests a stance where one is firmly grounded and ready to face anything with all their strength and resolve, fully committed and devoted to something. But then it adds, this is a phrase. This phrase existed, but it's been adopted by the hip hop community. And Jasmine is
She's clearly hip hop.
She's so hip hop, you know.
She is. Well, now we know. It's a white supremacy phrase. 10 white toes down. That's what that means.
Oh no. So why is she on Stephen Colbert? Like, what is that about?
They don't have. Who do the Democrats have? They don't have anyone.
Crowd's laughing. I know they're clapping and laughing. Like,
who are the Democrat stars right now? Who's gonna go out and get the Democrats excited? Pocahontas?
Yeah, definitely not.
Honest to God.
Old white.
All 150. Like, what do we expect them to do?
It's pretty scary because I just think, holy crap, they're going to throw people like that up on the in the primary. It's going
to be fair, that's as sane as she sounded in months.
And AOC, I know.
She hasn't.
Okay, wait. Here we go. Ratings. I wonder if there's a way to look this up. Okay. So
how about this? Daniel Horowitz. This is just a little tweet I'll read you.
Okay, yeah.
I still have to pinch myself. He's a conservative.
Okay.
He said, I still have to pinch myself to believe that not only are the Republicans keeping the Green New Deal, but they are blocking red states from regulating carbon capture agenda 2030 land grabs.
What is that?
That's those where the government can come in and just try to make their new 15-minute cities and just take people's property.
No.
Yeah. Oh, your Republican Congress is hard at work for you 1 day a week. They've got a lot of betraying to do to fit into just one short day a week. It's something, I tell you. Something what's going on out there.
That's crazy.
But one good thing.
Tell me.
Your Pope, your new Pope, Pope Leo.
Leo the 14th.
14th. I can't read Roman numerals.
Oh my gosh, have you forgotten?
Like it's a Super Bowl. Why is the Pope in the Super Bowl?
14 should be an XIV.
It is. Look at you go. Yeah. Catholics. Pope Leo the 14th affirms the family is founded on the stable union between a man and a woman.
Yep.
And that the unborn have inherent dignity as God's creatures, articulating Catholic teaching on marriage and abortion at the start of his pontificate.
Amen.
Pretty good.
I like that.
That was encouraging when I saw that.
That is encouraging.
I didn't know if you had heard it or if it slipped by, but it's worth hearing.
I've heard little things, but I haven't been I'm kind of hearing. So my mom's here visiting.
So she keeps
So
it.
as she encounters things, she reads them, but also, there's some fake stuff in there here and there. But
Yeah.
I do believe the Pope probably said that.
No, I that was well reported, and so
Nice.
that's encouraging. A little bit of good news
cool.
to end on.
That's very nice.
And you know what? To be fair, I thought most of our clips today with the FBI and with
I was going to
Cash
say
and
this
Dan
is a
Bongino,
very, very
pretty
positive
encouraging.
show.
Yeah.
This is the most positive and uplifting Todd's World has been since I think, maybe since the victory lap after the election.
Yeah, it could be. I was encouraged to hear from Cash and Dan.
Yeah, that was really great.
I felt like it was good. This is
I wish I had known that they were going to be on there. That's cool.
You know who the Senator John Kennedy is from Louisiana? You know who I'm talking about?
Louisiana.
You'll know him as soon as I play
Oh,
him.
yeah, I know him.
What do you make of that deal? And what do
is
you
about the
message do you
China
think it
tariff
sends to
deal.
the rest of the world? And Scott Besson said 130 countries are lined up.
Well, I think it's obvious. Unless you're the reason that your parents drank, you see that it was a big victory, not just for President Trump, but for America. Before the president did what he did, China's tariffs on the United States were a little over 20% on average. Now they're 10. Our tariffs on China were a little over 20. Now they're 30. That's a 20-point swing. Now, I've listened all day to some of my Democratic colleagues say that, well, we didn't get anything for it. If you believe that, I'm not saying you're the dumbest person in the world, but you better hope the dumbest person in the world doesn't die. It was a clear victory. The other
He's
point I
pretty
would
good
make,
at
I think Trump
so
understands
good.
how to deal with China. Look, the Chinese, not the people of China. I'm speaking about the Chinese Communist Party. They're thieves. They steal with both hands.
Is he talking about China or is he talking about our Congress? I don't know which.
He's he's
Oh,
like looking over his shoulder.
He's like,
"Yeah,
I know."
I guess I'm talking about China.
Because I got two hands, baby.
That's funny.
But he's pretty good at his little quips, right?
I'm not. Yeah, I love that. Not saying you're the dumbest person, but you better hope the dumbest person doesn't die.
He's pretty good at those.
That's beautiful. I love that.
That's basically what he's good at. I don't know if he's so good at governing and voting in the Senate, but he's good at that.
Not sure. I was going to say his stance is always very good, but I don't know what he accomplishes or not. He's from Louisiana.
He's like a Republican in the Senate. They don't walk into things looking to accomplish anything.
No, they really don't. I wish that could change.
A good day is when nothing really happens. That's a good day.
I wonder how many days a week they work.
We get a few good quips in, and then nothing really.
He's pretty funny.
Nothing happens all that
Yeah.
much. So anyway, overall though,
Yep.
good things happening. I
Yeah,
think.
great things. This was a very encouraging.
You know what I like? I like that Trump goes over to the Middle East. He has this massively successful kind of foreign tour over the week. But during that week, he's got such quality, dependable, good people here that you've got. We're hearing from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're hearing from Rubio. We're hearing from Bongino and Cash. And the agenda is still being forwarded. And I like that. And it's full speed ahead, and he can trust the guys he's got there.
Yep.
And it's encouraging. I like.
Yeah, the to-do list is so long and it's so challenging, and they just keep chipping away at it. I love it.
Hey, they're doing good.
They are.
Rome wasn't built in a day, and there's always going to be things to be upset about. And when you hear about the Supreme Court, just ignore them.
Yeah,
they don't matter.
I guess they don't. I'm just going to trust. I'm going to trust you on that. Have we heard from J.D. Vance very much lately?
Not this weekend. There wasn't a lot from him.
Okay.
He went to, or was on his way to, the Pope's. I don't know. Is it like a first mass or something? Something
Okay.
the Pope does maybe in Italy.
Cool.
I really don't know where. I know he's flying to it, so it wasn't down the road.
Okay. Right.
And it sounded like it was important.
As the vice president, I'm sure if he was going to it, he was going to the actual physical location. Yeah.
I don't think it was a satellite church. He wasn't watching it on a screen. Minutia. We got to keep the
That's
kids
funny.
quiet.
Right. No, that's cool. Thank you for all the encouraging stuff. It's great.
It was good.
Yeah.
Well, we caught you up. We caught everybody
Woo!
up. Thank you for joining us. Go to toddsworld.net. Check out the merch. Listen to
Yeah,
Beers,
definitely.
our other podcast. If I ever put out a home improvement show again, listen to that. I'm thinking I should.
But yeah, tune in for Beers with Jesus tomorrow.
It's so good. We're talking about Acts. And trying to remember what we talked about because we already did it like 3 days
Well,
ago.
we were talking, I was going to say it was after Peter and John were let out
It was
of.
yesterday. What am I talking about?
I know.
I'm like Biden. My God, I got stage 5 pancreatic cancer.
No, it's just after they were released from the
That's
authorities and
And healing. We talked a little bit about healing.
We were talking about healing.
Wandered in
the name of Jesus.
Yes, it was good.
Interesting stuff.
So tune into that.
Yes.
Catch us. My books are available if you want. Got a memoir out, Leaves That Blew Away.
So good.
Novel, 9 Mile Point. A couple other books, Insurrection.
I haven't
Witness.
read that yet, but I'm sure it's good. I have faith
Carrie
that
will
it's
get
good.
around to it.
I will.
She
I
has
will.
it.
Thank you for sending it to me. When my brain can read again like that, I will read it.
I understand what marijuana does. No, just kidding.
Did you say that? No. I actually will. I love reading your stuff, Todd. I'm like a big fan. I'm a big fan. No, I'm looking forward to it. But Leaves That Blew Away is so good. So I highly recommend that to everyone.
Get on Amazon under Todd Allen. You'll find all the books there. So, and mostly subscribe. Give us a 5-star review if you can on one of the platforms that you're listening on. We're everywhere.
Share it
So
with a few
just make
people.
sure that you subscribe, friend us on socials, whatever it takes, and share clips with people. We always appreciate that. The only way this thing's going to grow is if you guys share it with people.
Todd posts clips that you can then just share, share on your page if you belong to some groups who let you recommend stuff.
There you
go. Share that. So cool.
All right, Carrie. Thanks for joining me today. You did an
Thank
amazing
you.
job.
Thank you too. I'm just.
You just
I
keep
just
going.
follow. I
You're
just
a
follow your
machine.
lead. I follow your lead.
A Jacksonville Gator machine.
I try to be as wildly opinionated as I can.
Carrie's been doing shots this whole show.
No.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. We'll catch you next week. We'll see you at Beers tomorrow. All right.
Cool.
Later.